most of the time, dirt paths do not take you to the most interesting of places. In fact, a lot of the time, these dirt paths don't take you anywhere. Well, what if we decided to cover an entire suburban area with purely dirt paths? That is exactly what we're going to discover today, so stay tuned. Okay, we're going to try and get into this as quickly as possible now. We've got ourselves a hell of a lot of land around here to build over. We're going to start off from this junction over here, and this little roundabout here is going to be the true exit and entrance for our city. We've only got gravel roads to build upon to get to our population target, so let's start thinking and strategizing what we're actually going to do, because we've got ourselves a lot of land to play around with right now. Now, the first thing, as always, that we're going to try to do is take a look at what direction the wind is going. Now, wind is going northwards, which means it kind of makes sense that we have ourselves our industry kind of up here towards the north, well, north relative to us right now, whilst our residential stays a little further south, closer to this area here. Now, as well as this kind of turn-off point here for the road, we've also got another junction here that we should most definitely consider. And we've also got a pretty nice road connection here that comes all the way from up here also. Now, I think these two road connections up here and along here as well are probably going to be our best kind of industrial access points. So what I'm going to do to start off with is get a gravel road. This feels so wrong, honestly, but we are going to start off with a few industrial areas. We're going to build out a little sort of gridded area around here for our industry. So this will be one area here. We're going to have ourselves another industrial area, making sure it's not like on too sloped of the terrain. I think this should probably do the job quite nicely. And then we'll do the same along here with another grid. And why don't we go for another grid along here as well? And then what we're going to do is, I mean, I'm not going to sort of say that we're doing this logically as such, but let's go for a continuous curve as well for this, just because obviously everything's been gridded up until this point. So going for something a little bit more unique will be quite nice. And then we're going to connect up these grids as well to our main road, making sure we are providing as much connectivity as physically possible. And then what I think we'll do is we'll have ourselves a nice, beautiful long stretch of road here that basically designates the separation between industrial area and then our residential commercial area that is going to come all the way down here. And just taking a look at this space over here, maybe I've been a little conservative with our grids. Perhaps we do have to build a little bit more commercial space, or industrial space, I should say here. And then we're just going to connect everything else up once again. Now, taking a look at our kind of residential core we're going to have here, I think the first thing to consider is kind of where things are going to stem from. Obviously, we have this highway connection here, and I think a very, very good idea for us to start off with is actually connecting this highway to this highway over here. So then we've kind of got ourselves a bit of a grid system kind of all looping around here. And then from there, we should start building our suburbs out. Considering this is where our industrial area is, I feel like it only makes sense that we have our low density housing kind of lining along here. And so I'm going to start building some crazy grids, something that I have not done on this scale ever before in City Skylines 2, I don't actually think. And then we're going to connect it all up to our highway system as well on both sides. And this is going to be our low density hub. Coming next is obviously going to be our medium density. I think this is probably where most of our demand is going to come from, and it's where most of our population is also going to come from, trying to hit our target as much as possible. So we're once again going to get ourselves a crazy grid coming straight down as far as possible. And then lining along our highway here, we're then going to get our high density grid system all set up. Maybe these couple of grids here can also be high density, but maybe for affordable housing instead. And I think these grids will most probably do the job for us, guys. So we're going to leave it as it is for the time being. Now, we actually have to start kind of populating everywhere with what we want. So I'm just going to hit pause for 1 second because I want everything to kind of just spawn in, grow in all at the same time. And we're going to actually start to designate what our zoning is going to look like. So obviously all of these grids along here, as I said before, are going to be completely filled and saturated with industry. So this should do the job for the time being. We're then going to get some low density residential in this absolutely immense grid over here. We've obviously got two options. We've got low density and also waterfront housing. And then we've obviously got the American versions as well. And you know something, guys, I've never actually tried to sort of compare these houses side by side. So how about we spawn all of them? We can get ourselves some standard low density European housing in these first two blocks here. And then we'll go for some North American housing, low density in the next two blocks. Then some low density European waterfront housing. then some American waterfront housing. Then how about for the rest, we just go for some standard European housing once again. But at least for these grids over here, we'll be able to get a bit of a contrast, a bit of a comparison as to what all of this actually means. Because obviously, you know, you'll say, I'm going to spawn some European low density housing, I'm going to spawn some American waterfront housing, but actually being able to compare it side by side, I think is actually going to be quite interesting, so stay tuned for that. The next bit of residential we're going to have is obviously going to be our medium density. Now, these blocks, I said to you guys that I was going to add some low rent housing, and I am most definitely going to stick with my word there because that is going to be very much necessary. And then looking into this grid area here, we're just going to do a standard kind of 50-50-ish kind of thing where we've got some European high density on this side here, then we're going to go for some North American high density over here as well. When it comes to commercial, well, we have got a lot to play around with. And then we've got mixed housing. So what I think we're going to do for this, guys, is we're going to get ourselves some EU mixed housing. That's going to line on the left side of our medium density area here. Some North American mixed housing that's going to line the right side of our grid here. We're going to get some old town style apartment buildings, some European ones for these little areas around here. And then we'll get some North American old town style housing for this area here. European high density business that I think we are going to put all within this grid here that we completely left out on purpose for businesses. And then our North American high density businesses, we're going to put surrounding our high density area along here, and I think that will fit pretty nicely. So everything's spawned in. We just actually have to start thinking about our buildings now to actually facilitate our population. First things first is obviously going to be energy. Part of me thinks a nuclear power plant might actually be our best option purely because of the sheer energy it produces. And so where on earth would a nuclear power plant fit in this map right now? Well, I am eyeing up the top of this mountain. It is going to look absolutely crazy up here. But I think, you know what? Looking at these two crazy chimneys up here, if we do have ourselves a Homer Simpson living down here, I don't know. I'd feel quite proud thinking that's where I work, at the top of this mountain, ready to have a meltdown any second. Hopefully not. So we're going to stick with our rule of having nothing but gravel roads to connect up this nuclear power plant. And then we are going to have a crazy steep, extremely precarious road coming down here, but that should do the job, I think, for the time being. So looking at water now, considering we've got some crazy deposits right here, I don't see why we cannot go crazy ourselves with water towers and just absolutely overload this whole area with some pretty big water towers. That should satisfy our needs. You can't even see the icons when you zoom out because there are so many. And then when it comes to sewage, to be honest with you guys, considering the water kind of flows in this direction, I don't see why just beyond this little bridge here, we can't get ourselves a few sewage outlets right here. I think that should do the job. 4 of them should most definitely do the job. And that should not cause an issue because that's going to be flowing downstream out of our map. So water is completely sorted. Energy is sorted. Let's think about healthcare now. Low density residential, I think sort of having one within each set of 2 blocks will probably do the job quite nicely. We'll do something similar for medium density. And once again for high density, something very similar. We should also probably get ourselves a hospital. So maybe at this big entrance here, very accessible, having a hospital will make a lot of sense. Death care is obviously going to be a great issue as well. So how about we get ourselves a long path here, and we can build ourselves a load of cemeteries, a load of crematoriums as well. And I think although there's going to be an absolute backlog of hearses in this area, right, when things start to spawn in, that should kind of deal with our death care pretty nicely. So that is fantastic. Healthcare, death care is ticked off our list. Looking at waste disposal, we're not going to bother about landfill because that is just going to take up way too much space. So we're going to go straight for an incineration plant. We're going to put one down, 50 garbage trucks. We're going to get ourselves a recycling center too, and then also an industrial waste processing plant purely because of the sheer number of garbage trucks they end up having as well. And I think this trio will actually end up working pretty nicely together. Some really good synergy between them. Looking at education, I think elementary schools are going to be very, very important. What if we have elementary schools kind of on our outskirts by our commercial areas? I think this should do the job quite nicely for elementary schools. We're going to go for the city high school purely because it's like a bit more compact and we have taken up quite a bit of building space by putting our elementary schools in the ways we have already. And we're just going to stick our high schools basically where all of our elementary schools already are, because that kind of just makes sense, I guess. And then colleges, obviously very important for further education. We're going to stick one college here, and we're going to stick another college over here, and maybe one up here. No, we're not, because there's not enough space. That's fine. And then I think one university will be very, very important. And we're actually going to stick the university on this great big path heading up to our industrial area. I don't actually think the wind is going to be polluting that university. Yeah, that's not going to be a problem for pollution. So that is fantastic as well. Education is sorted. Take a look at fire service now. Well, a fire station within our industrial area is going to be of utmost importance. In fact, I'm going to put 2 along here. We're also going to have a fire station along our highway here. We're going to stick one over here. And how about we get one right here as well by our high density area? We're going to do something very similar for our police service in the sense that we're going to have them right alongside our kind of main roads, very accessible for ease of distribution of our police cars. We're going to stick a few around the industrial areas as well. When it comes to post and stuff, we're not actually going to bother with because that's just going to become way too cluttery, I think. And telecom, we are going to worry about because that will kind of boost happiness within our area. I'm actually going to sacrifice a little bit of space just to maximize our telecom coverage, just because that's going to kind of make our citizens a bit happier, maybe a bit happier to pay taxes and stuff to get us some money in the long run. And I think that should work really quite nicely. Obviously, we could put some parks down. Maybe we do. Nothing too like methodical. How about we just get ourselves, once again, a great big dirt track along here. And then when it comes to parks, let's get ourselves some large sports parks to actually kind of just promote people to be healthy, to play sports, right by our beautiful industrial area where they can breathe in all of those delicious polluting fumes. Very logical, obviously. We'll get a community pool, maybe a couple of pools, 3, 4 swimming pools. I'm being very, very generous, and we'll do the same for basketball as well to try and promote people to, you know, kind of be a bit happier in this absolute hellhole of a city where traffic, I can imagine, is going to be an absolute nightmare. But I won't speak too soon because we have not actually let the simulation run yet. And talking about letting the simulation run, why don't we? I think we're ready to see what happens, so I'm going to let this run through a little bit and I'll catch up with you guys once everything has built in. Well, I think I can safely say we have spawned a lot of stuff in. I mean, you can tell things are starting to lag ever so slightly, but my goodness, this is a lot of stuff spawned in over a very short period of time. I'm slightly, ever so slightly afraid to actually kind of zoom out of this view and take a look at the statistics because I fear that we've done something wrong, or I should say I've done something wrong, and like all of our people are missing something really, really important, but I'm gonna have to do it anyways. So let's zoom out and we'll see how our city's doing. Well, this is extremely disappointing. I cannot believe, you know guys, I checked every single last thing thinking to myself, what am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? And we missed out bloody connecting water source to our nuclear power plant because I completely forgot that these highways do not connect utility lines. So what that basically means is that from here, we're just going to draw out one very simple water pipe here, and I think we are going to see all of these concerns just magically disappear when that water starts to hit our nuclear power plant. We actually still need more water, believe it or not. Oh, that's why. We actually do not have enough water towers in this area right now, so we're going to just continue building more and more and more in this little patch here. Because I was very, very silly, I completely forgot to connect these two sides of our city together. And just like that, all of our complaints go. I'm going to try and build in a few redundancies with a few more kind of power lines along here. There are a lot of concerns about hearses right now, which is obviously because this area as well, down to my absolute stupidity, I completely forgot to add in power and water connections, but that is all going to be resolved very, very soon now. And I think we are going to actually see ourselves an absolute influx of hearses coming out of here. And yeah, I think, it's safe to say a lot of death care is most definitely needed right now in our city. Literally every single hearse possible is getting dispatched. And this is, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, this is quite the depressing kind of motorcade, but I guess it's kind of needed, so I cannot complain about that. I don't know, from this perspective right here, guys, I don't know if you ever watched this film, it was from a few years ago now, about like the walled city in Hong Kong all those decades ago, and I'm kind of getting those vibes right now. My goodness, that was a good film. although quite a depressing way to live, I can imagine. So hopefully our people here have a slightly better quality of life than those poor people back in the 90s and before. When it comes to budget, that's another story. Our, let's just say, expenditure is surpassing our income by, well, 100% near enough. However, luckily, I think some of our services we can most probably cramp down, especially looking at things like energy. We're producing way more than we need. So I do think, considering we want to as well be a profitable country, or city, I should say, in this context, we are going to bring our energy budget down to 50%. No, we're not going to do that because people are complaining. We're going to take it down to 80%. Okay, 80%. They seem okay with that. Healthcare and deathcare, we're going to take down to 70% as well. And then fire and rescue is, well, the budget is through the roof. So we're going to take that down to 50% because we're not going to miss out on that. I think we're going to take our education down to 90%. Garbage management, we're going to take down to, considering we've got so many blooming garbage bins, or garbage trucks, I should say, sorry, that should be fine. We're going to take our parks down to 50% because that's not going to be too much of an issue, I don't think. And communications will take down to 50% as well. We're getting ever so slightly closer to actually breaking even now. When it comes to taxation, we're going to increase our taxes up to 11% per section. Our population is shooting through 40,000 now, which is absolutely fantastic and amazing to see. We're getting very, very close to hitting the greens with our revenue to expenses ratio, which is really, really good to see, which is obviously being supported by our increase in population. Just taking a look at our industrial areas, things seem to be working really, really nicely. Almost every last plot has been spawned in. Absolute grids upon grids of low and medium density housing here, which seems to be, they seem to be happy, which is fantastic. And the same can be said for our high density residential over here as well. A fair bit of time has passed, guys, and I can confidently say that our demand for hearses has drastically gone down, which is fantastic. We've got a few noise pollution complaints now for our houses nearby our industrial estate. However, that is not a massive issue. And I actually decided to repurpose our entire office district here into more high density residential to try and get us closer to that 100,000 population mark. I also had to resort to a few wind turbines because we basically needed more power. And although I really wanted to have gotten ourselves another nuclear power plant, believe it or not, in every single map, you are limited to only one nuclear power plant. So to be honest with you, that kind of makes sense because it is quite a big, immense thing to kind of upkeep, I suppose. But these wind turbines have been doing the job very, very nicely. Our population is absolutely skyrocketing right now, over 2,000 people per hour, getting very close to our 100,000 population target. And I can confirm that our money is very much in the green. Expenses of about $8.5 million, $13.5 million we are making right now. And that is with certain services like electricity at 150%. Our industrial areas are looking very, very bustling, which is fantastic. Our low density residential is looking wonderful. Our medium density residential is looking impeccable. And our high density residential, well, that just goes on forever and ever. And our population skyrocketing even more now, 3,500 per hour, is absolutely unheard of, especially considering every single one of our roads is literally nothing but dirt paths. And just picking a random street here, I mean, look, we've got some road traffic, but other than that, it is just people walking in every single direction, which is fantastic. And that is exactly what we want to see. It does not matter what part of our city you go to, and you can appreciate the lag route right now. I mean, to be honest with you guys, that's because we're in like full-time speed right now. If we just pause the simulation, there is literally no lag. But as soon as we go into full speed, yeah, things start to shift around a little bit more jaggedy. But literally anywhere you go in our city, we have got very, very little traffic. I also decided to build myself a little high density in this area as well by our stadiums, and I put some unique buildings down as well, just to sort of help with that population growth. But everything seems to be working really, really nicely right now. Pushing through 98,000 now with our population. 98,500 we're pushing through now. Only 700 people needed now, 600 people. We are getting awfully close to our 100,000 population target. Only 400 now, 200 to go. And we are getting very close. We're getting very close, and we have just hit 100,000 people in population. I think this is probably one of the only times I have ever hit 100,000 people in City Skylines 2. And my goodness, what an absolutely beautiful city to hit that amazing milestone in, guys. High density, medium density, low density, industry, commercial, all focused around one key thing, and that is dirt roads. I genuinely did not know we could form a fully functioning and successful city with nothing but dirt roads, but we have done it, and I am so happy that we have hit this absolutely amazing achievement, guys, and you are here for history to be made. I genuinely have no idea what on earth the limit would be as to whether we could hit 200,000 people, a quarter of a million, a million. I genuinely don't know, because obviously if you look into the distance, we have got ourselves a load more land that we could be building on right now. So maybe we could potentially next time try to reach a target of 1 million. I have no idea how the PC would handle it, considering this is a pretty strong computer as well for this day and age. But that will have to be for another episode. As always, thank you so very much for watching this video right until the end. If you did enjoy this episode, then make sure you hit a like, because it makes a world of difference to my channel and I'll be forever thankful. Make sure you also hit subscribe so then you never miss out on a brand new City Skylines 2 challenge video. And make sure you leave a comment as well if you have any suggestions or anything at all that you want to speak about, and I'll make sure I get back to you. Once again, thank you so very much for staying right until the end, guys, and I will see you all again very, very soon.